by the way. All right, good evening. Today is Wednesday, January 10th. This is the West Bridgewater Board of Selectmen meeting. The time is 6:30. Before we stand for the pledge, I'd just like to remind everybody that this meeting is being recorded for use on the internet and a local cable station. So thank you. Let's stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, we're going to open a public hearing. We have one item on the agenda, and as I open the public hearing, I'll read the notice.
Take a vote to open the hearing
sorry.
and then read the public hearing.
Vote to open the public meeting. Vote yes.
Yes.
Super. All right, pursuant to Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws, a public hearing will be held on Wednesday, January 10th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the Eldon F. Murrah Board of Selectmen Meeting Room, Town Hall, 65 North Main Street, West Bridgewater, Mass. On the application of a change of location of an all-alcohol liquor license for Vera Catering Incorporated DBA Grand Slam Pizza and Pub from 269 North Main Street to 115 South Main Street in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, 02379. And that was posted. All right, so at this point, we have somebody here.
Yes.
You want to just fill us in a little bit on what's going on? I think it's good news.
It is very good news. We are moving to a little bit bigger location. We're gonna have actually probably doubling in size of the seats, and we'll be able to do functions and parties for something we're not able to do right now because we just don't have the room for it. And right now it's in the middle of renovation. It will take probably another couple of months. The sprinkler system is starting soon, hopefully. So, but that's what we're looking at.
Good. I've heard from a lot of people they're excited for it. So
Yes, I can't wait until it's over, but yes.
everybody wants to know the date right now.
I know, everybody.
I will say the facility
Can't
looks
wait.
the facility looks better and better every time I drive by it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
So, yeah, we're gonna try to keep it nice and neat always, so.
Super. All right. Anything else? Do you have anything else?
Oh, we gotta make a motion?
Yep.
Because it is a public hearing, you just have to request if anybody else in the public wants to speak.
So, any comments from anybody else in the public? Going once, going twice, go. So with that in mind, we'll take a motion to vote.
I make a motion to change the location request for Vera Catering Inc., doing business as Grand Slam, from 269 North Main Street to 115 South Main Street, barring, making sure that they pass inspections and all that prior to the move.
Yeah, subject to final inspection.
Subject
Building.
to final inspection, yes. That's what I meant to say. He picked me up.
So, I'll second that motion. All right, and a vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you
Best
very
of luck.
much. Appreciate it.
We look forward to. I've got a few favorites there, but I'm not going to put them on camera for my wife.
Heads up. Thank you, guys. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks, Tony.
Super.
Jeff, just vote to close the hearing.
Okay, at this moment, I'd like to vote to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All right, in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All right, moving along. Next on the agenda is a gift that was received by the West Bridgewater Public Schools.
Yeah, so we always love seeing items such as this. So a resident town that's gone through our school system in the past is making a $20,000 donation to our high school to be utilized for a donation process through a scholarship fund at $2,000 each year over the next 10 years. So the school has 100% purview over the scholarship fund and how it's administered. However, because it is a financial gift to the town, the Board of Selectmen do have to take a vote to accept it.
I make a motion that we do any discussion?
No.
I make a motion that we accept the public school gift.
And I'll second that.
Favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye. And I assume I see Joanne's thank you. Is it something that we should send?
We could send one on behalf of the town.
Yeah, I think that's very generous, and I'm
Very
sure
generous,
some
thank
student
you.
will benefit well from that.
Well, for a while.
Super. All right. Next on the list is a vote to ratify Amy Forster's employment as head administrative secretary and grant writer. Hi, Amy. Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Can you give us a little quick background about yourself?
Sure. I have probably about over 10 years administrative experience. I've worked in different companies, construction, real estate, condominiums, property manager. So I hope to succeed with the town, and I'm very excited to work with everybody.
Super. Anything, Mike?
Amy, super excited to see you here and in this role. So
Thank
that's super
you.
exciting.
No, I'd second that. I mean, it's a valuable role, and may you make it rain money, please.
That would be great.
I'll do my best.
So, with that in mind,
I'll make a motion to ratify Amy Forster's appointment as head administrative secretary and grant writer.
I will second that, and
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks. Best of luck. All right, moving along, we are, next on the agenda is voting for 2 police appointments, and these, Officer Tim Pope, Detective Todd Canalupo, are both being promoted to sergeant. At this time, there's not an actual date, at which that promotion will happen. But this is just sort of a natural progression with the police department, as there'll be a couple of sergeants. We anticipate there'll be a couple of sergeants retiring in the very near future. So to make everything go smooth and to have the proper transition take place, at this time, we would what we're looking to do is just appoint again Officer Pope and Detective Canalupo as sergeants. So, any discussion, Mike?
Nope. I'll make a motion.
Super. I'll second that motion. In favor?
Aye.
Perfect. All right, we have meeting minutes from November 15th. I've read them. I'm good with them. If you're good with them, again, we'll make that motion.
Make a motion to approve the meetings for November 15, 2023.
Super. I second that and vote yes.
Yes.
Done. Next is to accept the meeting minutes for December 6th as well as for December 20th for review.
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of December 6, 2023 and December 20, 2023 for review.
I second that and vote yes.
Yes.
Super. Next is something that's been on the agenda before, but this should be the last time in this manner.
Yeah, fortunately, we actually have a closing date. So the closing date is in early February. We normally have to extend the purchase and sale agreement and the escrow agreement. However, the purchase and sale agreement is written that it could be closed within a certain period of time, so no need to do that. However, there are strict rules whenever somebody holds money for somebody else, and so per Fidelity rules and regulations, we need to extend this escrow agreement one more time. The request is until February 29th, but we do have a closing date prior to that. So I would ask that you accept the escrow agreement as presented.
Make a motion to accept the escrow agreement as presented.
I'll second that motion and vote yes.
Yes.
Super. Communication from boards, commissions, and towns officials. Vote to accept Dorna Beavis's resignation from the Historical Commission. So we have a letter of resignation, and she has moved out of town. So if we could send Dorna a thank you, and you can make the motion, Mike, I guess.
Yes. I make a motion to accept Dorna Beavis resignation for Historical Commission.
I will second that and vote yes.
Yes.
Super. All right, correspondence from the public to determine a course of action. We have nothing, so we'll move along. Public comment period. We have 2 people in the audience today. Any comment at this time? Super, we'll keep it going. Town administrators report.
Sure. So thank you. So first things first is in a conversation I placed on the agenda in reference to speed humps. You'll recall that over the summer is that the board took a vote that we wanted to have some data-driven decision-making moving forward in reference to what we were going to do to try to mitigate speed going in the future. That has been the number one complaint that my office in the police department has received over the past 12, 24 months, really coming out of COVID. It's not necessarily just traffic generating the issues, it is speed that is generating the issues. So we looked at a whole bunch of different options. One option is that we could hire more police officers, but one, you don't really want to turn your town into a police force, if you will, and have police everywhere. And obviously there's an expense. So in looking at what other communities had done, we came up with the idea of trying speed humps, and we wanted to see if they worked. And Scotland Street is one of those areas in town that, they have seen a disproportionate amount of growth in that area, not just on our side of the town line, but also on the other side of the town line as well. So we targeted Scotland Street first. We placed 2 speed humps there at a cost of about $14,000. That was inclusive of both engineering and the cost of the speed humps. We installed 2 of them in September. And so we're going to look at some data in a minute. This first sheet here shows that this is not the first time that we've studied Scotland Street. You can see that we've studied Scotland Street in 1986, 2003, 2011. And you can see that within that time period, that the volume count is reasonably about the same. But what's really funny is that the volume count's actually gone down, which nobody would have actually ever guessed. But within a couple hundred per day, it's been pretty stagnant. But notice that 48 miles per hour was the average at the 85th percentile was the speed on that road, which is obviously pretty high, especially for a residential area. If we could then go to the next slide, we'll see that we then did it again in 2018. In 2018, on the right-hand side, you'll see in the top, you'll see average volume per day is 1,083. So that's below. In fact, that's 500 per day below what we saw in 1986. I can't really tell you why that would be the case, but whatever, it's data, right? But you'll see the 85th percentile actually was reduced to 40.15 miles per hour. Still high for that road, but it is coming down. And then we'll fast forward again. We did another study. Move it again, please. And then we did another study in April of 2023. And this is where we really start to see a spike in volume per day. Now it goes all the way up to 1,800. So when we think about what we just saw from 2018 to 2023 in 5 years, that's an 80% increase from 1,000 to 1,800. No doubt driven by the fact that there's more housing in that area and more development on the Bridgewater side. And we also see that's very close in the speed as well, almost 39 miles per hour. Not much different from the 40. And then if we move one more, we'll see that based on what the Selectmen tasked us to do was that we said we're going to put the speed humps out, but in addition, we're also going to collect the data. And now again, we see another 50% jump or so, actually 60% jump in average volume per day to 3126. But we do see a corresponding decrease in speed, now down to around 30 for 85th percentile. So a couple of items of note. One is that every single time somebody drives by that board, it counts. So when you think about all the construction that is going on in there, a construction vehicle that drives in counts and then drives out counts. And because they're probably going back and forth with material multiple times a day, I think that's why we're probably seeing such a huge increase in only 6 months from April until October for volume count. So hopefully that will start to subside and actually bend downward after construction is over. Yes, I know. And also the second part to that is that in case anybody is looking at this, I'm referring to the 85th percentile for speed, not the average speed, because the 85th percentile speed by law is what you can post your speed at. The assumption is that 85% of people drive at a safe speed. So I get requests all the time. They say, do a speed limit study on this road, and I want to reduce the speed. And what I always tell them is that if the 85th percentile goes higher, then by law, I'm supposed to actually increase the speed, which most people don't want to do, right? They're always looking to lower it. So we focus on the 85th percentile, and that's why it's about 30 miles per hour. So I do think that the speed humps have had a positive impact in reducing speed. I also believe, and again, this is just my gut, I've been up there multiple times to watch. There's a lot of other municipalities that are turning to speed humps as a speed mitigating factor. And so I think we're going to find that because a lot of on the Bridgewater side, they're not going to want to keep going over the speed humps. And so hopefully it's going to push them to go to 104 to 24 instead of coming through West Bridgewater to get to 24. Again, pure gut hope. Maybe it's more hope than gut. But we're hoping that we will see that long-term trend. And I think that the volume per day right now is an outlier based on what's going on in that period of time, that side of town because of construction. So with that said, my recommendation to the board, because we do have a speed hump policy at this point that was signed. And all it said is that if somebody wants a speed hump, is that they would fill out a form, pay a fee, and tell us where they want it. But the board never came to conclusion as to how much we want them to for the fee, because we wanted to see this information first. So I've put in 2 decades worth of data for you to review. And I know that there is a resident here from Scotland Street who may want to speak to this. But my recommendation to the board at this point is that I think speed humps work. They're not my favorite item. They are expensive. There are concerns about when it plows and plow, with that. And there'll be a concern at a later date. There's going to be some maintenance that's going to have to be done. Mm-hmm. But out of all the factors, they seem to be the most effective and from a cost standpoint, lower than what the alternatives are. So my personal opinion is I think that they work. I would like us to be able to implement a policy going forward so we can utilize this in other areas in town. But I do think we're going to have to come up with the financial aspect of it. And as a result, I know I threw a lot at you. I think I would ask you to just take it under advisement and we come back at a future meeting and then we discuss how we want to do implementation and allow those speed humps, which were approved on Scotland Street on a temporary basis, to stay there on a permanent basis at this point.
Heather, right?
It's working.
I mean, obviously, it looks like it. We dropped 10 miles an hour.
You still see people flying and stuff like that, and it's and the amount of construction vehicles and the 18-wheelers on a daily basis. Us as residents, we're not going to call the cop, the police department every time. Hey, there's an 18-wheeler, go get him. You're dealing with it, but they're working. People are slowing down, and I've talked to a few people that live within the 2, humps, and they're like, I can actually go get my mail and not feel like I'm going to get hit by a car. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I do realize, and I've mentioned it to a couple people, can we paint them yellow or put a yellow strip on them? Because I feel that, because we had people over, for the holidays, and they're like, oh, they creeped up on me. I'm like, well, you had 2 signs to warn you, But I've noticed in other towns, they're either painted yellow, they're the temporary ones that have the rubber, they're black and yellow, but I don't see many that have white. And I feel like especially this time of year with the snow, they blend in a lot. And even living on the street, they creep up on me, but it is what it is. But is there a way to change the yellow line, the white line to a yellow line or something? Because I know that a lot of people are saying they don't see them.
Yeah.
Which I know is kind of like, you have 2 signs, but.
No, but I'd have to agree with her, but I don't know what the DOT policy is or the requirement is for the road on yellow or white.
So let me have a conversation with DPW. The bottom line, when I had a conversation with the DPW director at the time and our engineer, one of my concerns is I want people to be safe. Police were involved in it as well. So whether or not it becomes reflective material, whether it becomes a different color, and obviously we have to meet DOT guidelines. But if you've seen yellow in other towns, either they are complying or they're in violation, nobody's questioned it. Which happens too. But if the board has no objection, we'll have a conversation. We'll do whatever we can to make sure people are as safe as possible.
I just noticed, even just driving, I live on the streets, so up and down all day long. I noticed, I'm like, okay, because even with the snow, I'm like, people, I said, something's going to happen. Obviously, liability, but that's why you have the signs and stuff like that. But I definitely think if it's within the guidelines and we can put some, it doesn't have to be reflective paint, which is just something that kind of stands out a little bit more. I think would definitely be beneficial. But they're working. We're very happy. We're grateful. And, it's doing what we kind of set to do and slow people down. Yeah. So we're liking them.
Super. Yeah, because I do think our next task, much to what David said, when we did this, wasn't that long ago because I haven't really been here that long. Yeah. We're curious if it would work. We've got data that indicate it worked. We've got you here saying it works. Is trying to figure out how to set it up there were people when we first did this from Harvestwood that were interested.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure as this grows and as people see more in town, more people will want them. And we've got to really put some time and effort into developing a fair and equitable way to handle it throughout the course of the year.
Yeah. And I do know, like, one of the things I know is one of your concerns is when people get over that last speed hump, are they gonna fly? And they are, when they head towards Bridgewater, you know what I mean? But not everybody does. But then we have the few, handful of people that are kind of going out of their way to make the people in the area miserable because of the speed humps are there too. And that's been an issue that we've had to deal with. But you know what? Overall, I mean, everybody is more safe, I feel like. People are definitely slowing down and hoping it's turning people away and they're not wanting to come down Scotland too.
Exactly.
I know that was something
That's the long-term
for.
goal.
Yeah. So if we can just get those 18-wheelers off, it'll be good. But no, we're happy. So.
Super. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, and I want to take this moment. I just really want to say thank you to the board because, there's a little bit of risk involved, right? We spent some money and we didn't know how this going to what the effect was going to be. But we're seeing a positive effect on speed. And we can take this feedback, especially whether or not we change the colors or whatever. So that way, if it's effective there, we can use this as a template going forward in the town and not duplicate more mistakes.
Yep.
So again, I just want to say thank you because I know a lot of residents in town, their number one concern is speed. And as administrators for the town, we're struggling because we're trying to do the right thing. And there's only so many tools that we have. So I really do want to say thank you to the board for putting this effort out there, collecting the data, and then we'll move forward.
And thank you to Heather because you started it. I mean, you got the neighborhood involved. What's that?
David and I talked a lot.
No, but you still came
James.
forward. You asked for it to be done. You got neighbors involved, and you got the support that we needed you needed to get it started.
And I just hope, I know it's kind of pricey and stuff, but other streets that are really struggling with people cutting through and speeding, I hope that they can get their justice as well, and
Yep.
find a plan that works for them.
Yeah.
You mentioned snow. Did you see anything crazy? I mean, I know that you live there, so
The plow, everything was fine. We've sit on the porch and we've watched people fly. They're probably going 40 something miles an hour. I know the sign says 20, but you can go 40 over it, unfortunately. And no problems at all. So even with the snow and the plows, salters, stuff like that, no issues. And I know that was something that a lot of people were concerned about, when we plow, are we gonna rip them up? But they still look the same to me.
Yeah, no, that's one of my biggest concerns. I mean, I have friends that live on that street as well.
Yeah.
And when we go to parties and I gotta walk
Yeah.
down that street and I'm like, oh man, get on this side, kids.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
totally get it.
But no, they look fine after the snow and the plowing and stuff.
But the plows do have to make an adjustment, right?
They do.
Before they go over it, they have to straighten out, go up and over. It's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, we wouldn't put any more up for a while till we have a policy. We wouldn't put any more up because of, nothing's really open in the winter to do it. So we can watch some plowing, maybe not. And see how the rest of it goes.
I've done my best to cancel snow, but for multiple reasons, not just
The
Scotland
kids
Street.
want it. Come on.
Well, we'll let it snow at your house.
I think they should all be entitled to one snow day, one really good snow day, and then be done.
But I just want to make sure that I have direction from the board that you're comfortable that we had put those under a temporary order, that we will keep them more or less under a permanent order.
Yes.
And then we'll come back at a later date and then amend, discuss whatever we want to do from a policy going forward.
Good.
Yeah, I personally don't think we should entertain any more until at least spring.
Okay.
I mean, especially because the weather, and that should give us enough time to kind of put a plan together.
Okay. So moving forward, I approved the town hall parking lot for January and February for Girl Scout sales to be done. There is, last year, you'll recall, there was a referendum in the state about so-called the millionaire's tax. It's an additional 4% over $1 million worth of income. As part of that tax, that would go back to infrastructure projects. So the state has released an additional for West Bridgewater, an additional $165,000 in our Chapter 90 funds. So just an FYI to you on that. And the last is that just an update on the building department consolidation. I had said a couple of meetings ago, that we have now finally hired a contractor. Anybody who's been trying to hire one over the past year knows how difficult it's been. And again, we have additional issues that we have to, because they have to prevailing wage and all those things. In any event, the construction has started. But the other part that I want the public to know is that in the short term is that if you need anything at the building department, it is on the first floor. So in the small conference room down near the veterans office, if you need anything from building, please go there. The office is obviously closed during the construction period. And that's my report.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All right. In favor. Thank you very much.